Hello, everyone. My name is Tamika Brewster. I am a current early childhood education major. The lesson today that I will be teaching is on the book by Hans Christian called The Ugly Duckling. This book is a very nice book for me because I think a lot of it is based on trying to find oneself, which is what the Ugly Duckling did throughout the book. As he encountered different people, from children to the way that his brothers and sisters were treating him, from the mistress that the cat and the hen lived with, just to understand who he was and to try to find his way. Um, First off, the book starts out with him being born into a duck's nest. He was born into this nest by a mother duck who really didn't take into account that the egg looked nothing like her others. So as each of them started to hatch, she noticed that this one egg was still, quietly larger than the rest, definitely a different shade than the rest. And once he popped out, that's when he began to be called the ugly duckling. All of the people that he encountered is sort of sad because as a kid, regardless to what walk of life you come from, nobody wants to feel mistreated. Nobody treated him nice along the way when all he wanted to do was be who he was meant to be. Even as the seasons and stuff began to change, this duckling endured so much pain. As the seasons changed and spring began to come back around, the basics is that he looked into this lake and he seen who he was. And he noticed that, of course, I'm not like all of the other ones, all of the other ducks. I'm a beautiful white swan. And at that point in the book, you'll see that he began to actually appreciate who he was and the fact that he was amongst all these other beautiful swans that he looked exactly alike. I believe that the whole story is about acceptance of oneself. The guidelines I am choosing to evaluate are just based upon the age group that this book would belong to, the age group that I plan on teaching. I plan on doing K through 3rd. So I think this is a really good book because a lot of children now at this point tend to go through this cycle of wanting to fit in. So the goal of me teaching this lesson, I plan that what I hope that children will get out of this lesson is to learn the characters, to be able to show the importance that each of these characters carry, and how these characters all have a place in the way that this duckling is treated and how he feels after the fact. The objective of these children are to be able to, I plan on them to be able to describe the characters, the setting, and events that occur within this story. Also being able to demonstrate increased knowledge of information placed in front of the child, and be able to use prior knowledge to build new knowledge. So the materials that I plan on the students to use, including prints out of the stories. So what I would do is put each student, we would do like a circle time where we read, and then we would go over the basis of this story, and it would go, we would look at the front cover page. I would ask questions, hey, this is the book about the ugly duckling. What do you think will happen in this story? based on the responses that I get, we will end up, I would probably do like some cutouts of paper, give the kids scrap papers with crayons to be able to draw images of what they feel they should use, as well as chart paper with so that these children could draw pictures off of the characters to use as guidance from story from beginning to end. I also would want them to see how this duckling changes over time. It is understood that he's been through quite a lot throughout the book. I think that by giving each child a really good reference point to look at is to think of it in the matter of how would you feel if someone was to upset you, say that you're not good enough, and how we could better change these issues. I think that the pictures can just really get the children to understand that artists are the ones that draw these pictures. It is also known, we can make it known that the people that draw pictures are also known as illustrators. As we read the story, I could allow children to make connections to the pictures and the characters, as well as how they think the characters feel at a certain point, as well as let them see the front cover so that they'll come up on some things of how they feel the story might end, just based off the way that it starts. I think that one of the things that I will do is allow I think one of the things that I would do is ask students how they feel if they were in these situations, because this situation that this duckling is going through is a real life situation that most children go through that are in school at this point and trying to find themselves as individuals as well. I think I would even describe what's the difference between ducks and swans, do a small mini segment on, what makes ducks and swans different from one another, and how do we think that other ducks feel about the ugly duckling. I will also ask, what do you think the story is going to be about? The way that I would modify this is by allowing children to understand emotion, to give some examples of situations they felt hurt by someone and what they did to make that situation a lot better. I will ask questions about all characters in the book, as well as how the seasons change throughout the book, because this duckling went through summer, winter, spring, and fall. Like, these are our seasons. I will also ask, why do some animals treat the ugly duckling badly? Is it because that they feel that he is different to them or other ducklings? Or even if things change when the ugly duckling becomes a beautiful swan. Do we prefer animals that are beautiful versus those that are not? As well as worksheets on retelling the story via pictures to keep comprehension going. After all comprehension and reading has been done, we will discuss how animals as well as other animals and characters in the story could have treated the duckling to make him feel a lot more comfortable. What are some ways that you feel that you would handle this situation if this was you in this space and time? Until next time, I believe that I have covered the basis of this story, and next we will go into discussing and reading this book. Until then, have a great night.